Hello, and welcome to the Blackbridge Mindset Podcast, where culture, entrepreneurship, and business intersect to fuel inspiration. This podcast celebrates the power of diverse voices shaping the future of business. So, whether you're building a business, breaking barriers, or just looking for some serious inspiration, you're in the right place. The Blackbridge Mindset Podcast is hosted by your three favorite best friends, Mike, Ken, and CJ. So now sit back, relax, and absorb the gems being dropped on you by today's special guest.
This is the first recording of season 2 of Blackbridge Mindset. If you remember last season, we had 11 episodes, put them all out there, had great responses from people. And I don't know about you, Ken or CJ, but I've had people literally walk up to me and be like, "Hey, how's everything going? How's life? Are you guys still doing your podcast?" So like people know that we're doing it. And I guess I don't know if they missed it or they just realized that they haven't seen our faces together on screen in a while, that they felt the need to ask about it. So that makes me feel good that people are at least asking about it and wanting to catch up and see more. Season 2 is here. A lot has happened since the last time we recorded. We wanted to record sooner, but life was lifing, and some personal things happened in my life. And CJ and Ken have been busy doing their things. Great things have been happening in their lives. So yeah, better late than never, as they say. So here we are kicking off season
Right.
2, and we have so far 3 guests booked, and we have a couple more that we're walking through the details with to record some more episodes.
Can I
CJ, how are
jump
you?
in for a second?
So,
I just
That's what I
wanted to
just said.
say for everyone out there that has agreed to be on the show and is ready to go, reach out, let us know so we can get you scheduled and bring you on live and in living color.
see what you did there.
A little throwback.
I mean, he opened the door. I had to step in.
Right. I tried to hold
I
hold
like
in my
that.
giggle, but I couldn't help it. As I mentioned, we have our first guest of season 2 of Blackbridge Mindset. His name is Spencer, and he just started his own new business called Twisted Twigs by Spencer. And he's going to tell you all about it because I was the slacker and did not write something, and I am not good enough to do it off the top of my head. So let us know, what is Twisted Twigs by Spencer?
So, Twisted Twigs by Spencer, it's a hobby I've been doing for years. I don't think anyone's really known that I was crafty and also wrote short stories. And so, when I moved here to St. Louis, I had a really good friend who, him and his best friend, they owned a store. And so when they owned the store, they were always saying, like, you should work with us, or you should come and do some of these clients' homes with us because you have great, vision and creativity. I was always decorating our home for the holidays. I would make personal gifts for friends and family, when they wanted something different, vibe for their home. So I went to visit my niece and she started her own business. And it kind of gave me the motivation that this is the time to do it. Like we weren't traveling. My partner wasn't traveling. We kind of were settled after, selling a house. And I was like, this is the time to do it. And it's when it comes time to starting a business or any new adventure, it's something personal to you. And it's kind of like when you're ready for that personal thing that you always do out there in the world, then that's when it becomes like a real business. And with Twisted Twigs by Spencer, it's just a take on your traditional wreath or garland decorations, but with a twist. And that twist can be the story that goes along with it, the materials that are with it. If you're doing a custom order and you want it to be like something for your mother, and so you have like maybe an earring you want to implement into it, or if you have a story that, of a Mother's Day, tradition that you do and you want that to represent it. That's something that I do because I don't want it just to be a regular wreath that you can go to any store to get. I want it when someone comes to your house and they see it on your door or your mantle or on your wall. They're like, oh, well, that's different. Where'd you get it? You got that Twisted Twigs by Spencer, and this is the story that came along with
I was about
the
to say,
wreath.
yeah.
So that's kind of like how I want to do. Yeah, start your own
Yeah, I
little
was about to say, it sounds
traditions.
like it's something that has a story attached to it. So it's not just a piece that's there. You say, "Oh, I
Mhm.
got this made by,"
Mhm.
I'm gonna tongue twist it, "Twisted Twigs by Spencer." and there's a story behind it because I added this little touch, like this was my mom's whatever, or this was my cousin's whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
this is
Mm-hmm.
the story behind it. I like that. I don't think I've heard.
Yeah, exactly. So like every reef that I create, it already comes with a story. So I come up with a concept, I come up with like a theme for that collection. And then with each one, I, kind of start brainstorming a story, like where it would be, what it's about, who it is. So just like one of the collections that I have right now, it's called kind of like the Awakening of Spring. So each one is more like, whimsical and fairies and owls and animals, or, those that kind of like want a little bit of an edge to their style. There's like the bloom and gloom because most people, they don't see like the dark colors and the dark colors that turn to lighter colors in the springtime. So and then it has a story with it as well.
So
Nice.
just out of curiosity, it sounds like these are one of a kind, but do you have the ability to mass produce, say if I wanted 10 of them?
Oh yeah. Like, so the ones that I produce and put online, those are the one of a kind, but I can reproduce that particular one or a similar one like that, and however many. Just for instance, I have a friend of mine, they're going to have a party over the summer, and they want to do like a kind of like a smaller gift to give to people. So I'm making 10 small gifts that are kind of like a wreath, but a smaller version for them to put like either on their mantle, on a table or whatever. But yeah, definitely can be reproduced.
And along those same lines, if I'm just I'm hearing this podcast, which everyone should be doing. I'm thinking, okay, I want to get this done. Is there a limitation to the size or scale of what you can produce?
We talk about it and we will make sure that it can happen. So right now with the wreaths, I go up to, if it can be shipped, I can
Gotcha.
get it to
Okay.
you. And my
Mm.
turnaround and my commitment to that is you will have it within 2
Yeah.
weeks. And like literally, I know like and reading like some of the questions, what I do every day, I literally get up first thing in the morning. Once I take the dogs out, I'm tracking the orders to make sure they're still on track because I want to make sure I'm keeping the customer up to date. Because I think the one thing is that like when you purchase something, you're always
Mhm.
waiting for it. Like you're waiting to see and you're hoping that's going to happen. So my little twist would be like if something's like, delayed or when it's en route, I'll just send like a little message or an email saying like, your delivery's on its way or a little bit of magic's on its way to the door or something just to just to add a little bit more excitement and just, a little twist to what you've
So it sounds
ordered.
like customer service is something high on your, I guess, priorities for your business.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, that's with any business. I mean, I have a strong customer service background and I know in a previous podcast, it's like you always are your business, no matter if you're producing a product or just out for dinner. And I remember, Mike, I think you might have said that in a previous podcast that you're always representing your business, or maybe it was the guest that you had. I can't quite remember. I'm sorry. But
I'll take
yeah,
ownership. It was me.
but yeah, it's about customer service because I don't know if you guys have experienced it. I'm sure you have. It seems like after the pandemic, like no one knows what to
Mhm.
do anymore. Like there's like customer service is very
Mhm.
hard to find. So when you do find it, you tend to go back to those businesses again because I mean, yeah, there might be a little bit something that you really don't want to go there because a little bit further, but you'll drive a little bit further because you're going to get that customer
Oh, true.
service.
Yeah, I love the customer service aspect of it, and talking about how you make sure that everyone has that special unique touch. But one of the things that I would like to ask, because we want to, in general, for any entrepreneur who's looking to start a business, to have some sort of insight on what it takes to start a business, right? Whether it's your business or another fashion business or whatever. But what's one of the things you wish someone had told you before you launched your business?
I wish that someone would have told me that it becomes very personal. And so when you kind of get to that phase, it's like when you're offering a service and then someone's actually wanting to buy it, you're kind of like, oh, do I want to sell it because I kind of like it? I want to keep it. Like you have that personal attachment to things, and it's just because I think that when you enjoy something and you've enjoyed something for so long, and then you, like I said, you put it out there for everyone there's a different feeling. It's not like mass producing, 20 t-shirts. I mean, it's like it's hours and time. And I think if someone would have told me like, oh, you're gonna get attached to these items, so be prepared for that. So I think it's like that's what it is. It's that it's definitely a personal attachment. And I think that's what brings the joy of any business. It's just that when you know that you're doing the right thing, you're on the right path, if you feel very personal about like each item or each presentation or each speaking that you may do, when you have that feeling, yeah, for sure.
Right. Hey, listen, just make 2. If you like it, make 2 and keep
I don't have time, like
So if you are, I mean, your business is basically focused on the general public. Getting started, what were some things that you had to get in line? What were some of your costs that you incurred? What things did you have to think about in order to get your business off the ground?
Well, the main thing, and this comes to another point with any business, make sure you understand your cost and make sure you search and research out whatever product, whatever you're doing, where those costs come from. I mean, I think I've called numerous vendors, wholesalers, spoke with them to see what their shipping turnaround would be. So I think, and then what another thing is that you have to understand that your cost per item is every little piece that comes to that piece of merchandise. So you have to make sure you understand that cost, and you just have to be ready for it. And when you understand the logistics of your business and you feel comfortable with those logistics, then you'll be comfortable in actually producing it out there.
How long did it take you to kind of discover, not just the logistics, right? And how long it took you to create, a specific wreath or a specific size of a wreath, but also like to what you said earlier about wholesalers, right? Learning about your wholesalers, the amount of time and energy that you put in, figuring out where the work-life balance is. Like, how long did it kind of take you to figure all that out and kind of discern what the best approach was for you?
Yes, so I've been playing with the idea of opening this business for about 6 to 8 months. So, and the main thing is because I'm a strong supporter of my family and my partner, and I wanted to make sure that whatever I'm doing is still going to be able to fall in line with what we currently have because our I mean everyone has, lives. And so I can't say I'm producing 20 items and then all of a sudden my husband's like, "Oh, by the way, we have to do this business trip and I want you and the dogs to come along. We leave next Friday." How does that? So that was so you have to do those logistics. You have to if it makes sense because I made several like we had several conversations. Is this the right time? Is this the right time? And because you have to literally focus when you decide to do it. Like it was a nonstop focus for like the last 7 months. And then I think I sat on launching it for about a good 2, 3 weeks, about a good 2, 3 weeks, because I come up with a mood board, I come up with a concept, I come up with a storyline for each season. And with that, I come up with, how I'm going to create the reef. And then when I start doing the prototypes, I can pretty much know how long it takes because it takes me about 2 to 3 days to produce a reef per my image. But then you got to sit on it for a little bit to see, does it match my story I'm trying to tell? Does it have that twist? Could you run out here and just get it at any like home goods, whatever store it may be? So that's where I had to learn how to edit and also to understand it's good enough.
Nice. Well, a lot of people in your sector, I guess, would you consider it retail?
Retail,
Okay.
specialty goods, like specialty merchandise, because handcrafted would probably be
Okay.
the best way to say because, it's not just, you can't just go out and buy it. Like the stuff that I'm producing, you can buy some of the stuff, you can try and implement it and make it your way. But like I would say more handcrafted
Yeah, so
specialty
a lot of
goods.
entrepreneurs in that bucket, they always hear in the beginning, if you're selling to everybody, then you're selling to no one, right? So how did you
Mhm.
figure out who your target audience is or target customer? And did it surprise you when you sort of sat down and figured out like, oh, this is my target, I guess they call it avatars nowadays, target avatar versus
Mm-hmm.
what you probably initially thought in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning. Was it different well, first off, how did you figure that out and was it different than what you thought? Hey, real quick, if this conversation is resonating with you, then do us a favor and hit that like or follow button somewhere here on the screen. We are here building a community of culture and entrepreneurship, and we want you to be a part of it. Not only will you be a part of it, but by hitting that like or follow button, you are helping our platform reach more people who are interested in being young entrepreneurs and building their business and looking to learn how to take the steps to make that happen. So, with that said, thank you, thank you, thank you. And now we'll take you back to Spencer.
Well, I always figured that my target audience was going to be someone who's the impulse buyer or someone that's always looking for something different and
Guilty.
special. And so my partner, he was trying to say, well, maybe you should do a storefront. I go, I'm not doing a storefront. I got 14 reefs and an idea. Like, it's too much. So that's how I knew. I've always known that my customer would be someone that's an impulse buyer or likes to buy specialty gifts. So, and when I realized that was my target customer avatar, I was trying to take photos for social media and also for my website, and I sold 4 in my hallway to my neighbors trying to just take a photo. And they have no real attachment to me. They know me from just in passing, and they just happened to see me in the hallway hanging a wreath on my door and asked questions. So that's I guess I'm right on target for who I
About to
need to
say
be
that
seen.
solidified. You're like, I'm
Yeah.
buying it.
Yeah, it definitely did. And I've always known because because it's a special item. It's a specialty item. And I haven't seen anything like it. I've seen some stuff that's close, like maybe like a candle or charms and stuff. Like maybe traveling in Europe, you see a lot of those with like, crosses and things and some necklaces. But I've never seen like a wreath that actually tells a story that you can physically have and you can choose to frame it, you can sit it beside it, but you can at least remember some of that story when you get that box and it's like, oh yeah, this is a story about spring and this whatever, or if it's a custom item. Oh, this is when my son was born and we tied these ribbons because this was in the bed, things like that. Yeah.
So you mentioned that you waited 2 to 3 weeks, right, before you decided to launch. Was there a hesitation in the wait, or were you just trying to figure out, is this the right time and is this what I want to do? Because I think that a lot of people who are thinking about starting their own business, right, probably do go through those moments of hesitation and right. So if you could kind of talk to that and then kind of how you got to the point where you were saying like, yes, I'm ready to launch, that'd be great.
I think it's the hesitation comes from like failing, like because you don't want to like you don't want to have a business and like 2 weeks later, like, oh, well, didn't you have a business? And I'm like, oh yeah, we kind of like push that under the rug for now, or we're putting it on hold. We're putting it on hold, and also I'm showing a personal. I'm showing a personal side, and when you open a business, that's a personal side of you that most people probably didn't know. It's kind of like you go to a basketball game and you see a friend out there playing and they score like 35 points and you're like, wait, I don't know they played basketball. Like, it's just kind of like one of those concepts. And I think that was what the hesitation was. It was like, am I ready to really give this out there to the world, show my vulnerability, and it's okay to fail if it's not, if it's not successful.
When did you have that aha, like this could be a thing, this is a thing?
I'll go back to when I was just hanging it on my door trying to take a photo and people were walking by and they wanted to buy, and they purchased it. And when someone comes back and they're like, oh, I purchased that one, can I get 2 more kind of like that? What I did before I launched my business's website, I invited about 10 to 15, friends, coworkers to basically like a pop-up event where I had my entire collection out with the story, some snacks, just a pop-up event because, I've been talking about this concept for months and everyone's been really excited. And my husband's been like, well, when are you going to launch your website? And well, if you're not going to sell that one, can we just keep that one? And I said, we can't keep I will make us for our own. And so I think the reaction from that pop-up event and seeing people purchasing them at the pop-up event and hearing people ask me about it in the hallways or when I'm talking to people out in public about it, I think that's when I really realized, oh, I have something here. This is a business. Like this is definitely a business.
That's awesome.
Then you just mentioned you had your items on display and had friends over and try to get the word out. So you are using word of mouth and people's own experiences to get information about your product out to the general public. Excuse me. Do you currently have a marketing plan in place? Do you have any ideas of where you are going to sell outside of your website? If you've been considering something like an Etsy or Shopify or something like that, like what is your game plan for the business?
My game plan is to continue my online website, continue, doing the Facebook and the Instagram stories and post, because with my website that I've been working at, I look at the analytics of it all. So I know like I know when someone's looked at my website, I know that what they looked at the website, where they got the information from the website, what are they search. I mean, I literally know line by line. I know if the majority of the reactions are coming from Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. So I'm going to focus on that for these few months. Then I'm going to prepare to launch my summer and Pride collections. That's going to be coming up here in the next few weeks. And the goal is to get to one of the farmers markets or one of the Pride events that they hold, because they do kind of like Pride markets here. Like I can't remember them doing them in Columbus, but they're like small markets that they do in different venues, and it's just LGBTQ businesses. So it's small, intimate. So I was going to try and get into one of those. I think I'm going to just keep trying to get that engagement in with people, explaining the storyline about my product and why it is different. And we're just going to see where it goes from there.
Okay. Nice.
Along those lines, can you just speak a little on how important it is to review those analytics and see who your audience is, like just to check in on that? I don't know if you check in on it daily, hourly, weekly. Like how does that look for you?
So I kind of got this from when I worked in retail. Like we always would get, your sales numbers. So you would know what was selling. So when something was selling well, then you would put that item to the front. So that way that's the item people first see. So me watching those numbers and watching those tracking, I'm able to change what they're looking at to that first image they see when you log into my website. So I recently just updated my website and changed a few things around, because I've seen that those are the items that they're being clicked on throughout my website, and they're coming from Facebook. So I'll make a Facebook post for that item, because I already know people are looking at it, and then I'll update it on my website so that way when they go to the website, they'll see it. So literally for that 24 to 48 hours, I'm making sure that that product is still in line. And I learned that just through that analytics, through my website analytics. And that has just been like, it's worked amazingly for me. For someone that's starting out a business, I'm not going to promote the website and the platform that I'm using, but it definitely made it very easy for someone like me that I wanted to know the ins and outs of my business, because I could have easily called one of my nieces or nephews and be like, can you do these posts for me? I'll pay you this much money. Or I could easily gotten someone to do a website design for me, because my husband, he ran a business for almost 20, 30 years through his whole family. So he could have connected me with someone, but I wanted to know the ins and outs of my business before I started pushing it off to other people if it got too much to handle. So I daily, hourly.
And listen, I get where you're going with, like, you don't want to promote the website, but if it's a website that you think has been really useful and you're like, this website
gonna
is
help
easy,
others.
and you're starting a small
Okay.
business, you're more than welcome to say it if you're okay with it.
Okay, I didn't know if I could say it or not.
If it's going to help other people,
So Google Workspace recently changed over to Squarespace. So I've been going through Squarespace, and I've just had like the best customer service assistants. They have easy tutorials to walk you through. Some of them are videos, so people can learn through videos. It's mobile friendly. So if I see that something's changed or something's not clicking right on my phone, I can go through the website and do what I need to do as the administrator through my phone. It's connected to your email account. But I mean, it's worked great for me. Like for me, just starting a business, not knowing like how to build it, it's like, and it's down to basics. Like they go from A to Z with it. So it works out well. Payments, taxes, all that stuff. And everything is tracked for you.
That's awesome.
There's
Yeah,
your
and that's what
media,
we're here
there's your
for, is to
marketing,
have
there's everything.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, everything. It does everything. And like it gives you marketing suggestions. Like it gives you, and the marketing suggestions come from when your products and some of the products through your analytics, it's all tied in together. And then that way you can edit and change it and gives you a better grasp of how to promote your business more in other spaces.
So, say for instance, I'm Joe Schmo and I want to start a business, not necessarily one like yours, but something that I'm promoting myself on my own and taking it all into my hands. What are some of the first steps you think that a person that wants to be an entrepreneur and start their own business outside of, I guess, knowing their target market? What other things would you suggest that they do in order to get going?
Have a concrete business plan and a schedule and a timeline. Because what I've realized is that your business plan is what you're going to stick to for your business. Like there might be some changes, but this is what you said that your business is going to be and how to be successful. And your timeline, that helps you stay on track for what you need to accomplish in these many days. Like right now, I have like a whole timeline on this wall about what products need to be done this week, next week, coming out in order to hit my target date of my product launch. And then your schedule, like you got to have your schedule physical and you got to have your mental schedule, because there's days that I'm just going through life and work is working. And then I'll look at the clock at 5:30 in the morning. I was like, I'm probably not going to get to my social media until like 11 a.m. at this rate. And when you know it, it never fails. 10:58 is like right when I'm getting to my surface, or at 11:02, something like that. So just like with us sitting here today, I know my dogs get crazy around this time. So I literally had to come in here and sit in my little workspace for like a good 20 minutes. So that way they realize I'm not doing anything.
They know daddy's busy to chill out, right?
Yeah. They're like, they're actually doing really good. I'm surprised. So,
We're sorry, puppies.
but yeah, you have to have a strong business plan. That has probably been the best thing I have done, is having that strong business plan and that timeline. Because that timeline, you're going to see it, that you can't, when you start ordering products and receiving orders, and then you got a delivery coming in, and then all of a sudden now I gotta go get something from my mom, or I gotta do that. It's like to see that date. When I look at it, say, okay, so week 7, like this second week in March, this has to be done, and it's just you just have to have it. Like it's just a saving grace.
As a quick question, so what are the top like 2 or 3 things that you would say people need to include in their business plan?
A budget. Because you can have all the ideas in the world, you can have all the visions but if you don't properly budget out and know the cost to run that business effectively, then you're setting yourself up to fail. And that's what in my line of business, like it all comes down to cost of goods. So you have to research and know who's having the sale on bulk items of this, and how long does it take to get this shipped. If I'm going to purchase this and I know someone's going to like it, then you need to be able to purchase not only just for the one you're making, but for at least 2. So that way you don't have to worry about, or if it gets called, like not recalled, but if it discontinued, that way you can still make a profit. But yeah, you have to have a budget. That's all I have to say. That's the best thing I can say. Like, you know your budget, stick to it as much as possible, because then that way you can get that vision and that business up and running.
I know you have to worry about costs and overhead, but with you making something so unique, do you ever have to think about, I may have messed this one up, I need to make sure I have enough to make another one just in case, or something like that? Do you have to worry about those gotcha type of situations as well?
No, because I can always make something similar. If it's not going to be exact, I'm going to make it as similar as possible, because again, it's about the story that I created with it. So the wreath will look the same and look similar, and even the story might change a little bit, but I will always try to make it as close to the original that someone saw as possible. Because I have 2 orders now that they've seen something on the website and they just want to change a little bit of it. Like, can you make it but with just this, or can you make it and add this? And that's easy to do. That's easy to do because again, it's all about the timeline, and my personal turnover is like you should have that within 2 weeks.
Can you describe that process? If someone comes to you with this custom order, what is your process to working with them to get that piece out and it be what they envision?
Okay. So what I do when someone reaches out, either through my website, www.twistedtwigsbyspencer.com, or through any of our social media avenues, Facebook, Instagram, same name, Twisted Twigs by Spencer, by DM or post, I'll reach out to them and I have a form that we will walk through. I'll tell them I'll email this over to you, and they'll email over the form, they'll fill it out. Once they return that form to me, I'll then contact them and we'll go over the form. So that way we're on the same page of what the idea and the vision of the customer is. I'll come up with a concept, and it could be a prototype of it. It could be a sketch, and I will send that over to them. And if they want to proceed, then we'll proceed. If not, then we'll make some more changes, but we will not fully produce it until they're satisfied.
Gotcha.
And then before it even ships, I will send them the final product, the way it looks, to make sure it is what they had envisioned.
Out of curiosity, what do you use for your prototypes?
I created my own wreaths. I have like the wreath bases that I purchased through bulk, and then I just, go through there. That's how I do it. I do it all by hand, like even the prototypes by hand.
So you physically make the product and I just take a picture of it and send it to them? Or do you have like some software or something that you sketch things out first?
No, I draw it by hand. So I draw it by hand, and then, or if like my creative mind, I'll just start with the base and the ideas that they've told me, and we'll just go from there.
Nice.
Yeah.
And since earlier you mentioned budget, and budget, if you had to start over with $500 and 30 days, what would you do first?
$500 in 30 days. I would figure out how I can get $500 more of that. No, but actually, with that $500, I probably would start my website sooner. That inner saboteur was saying like, "Oh, are you sure? Are you sure?" I was already selling them. Like I could have sold some of this. I could have been selling back in like December, November. So I think I would have probably, the prototypes that I had made, CJ, that I had prototypes before, and some of them were ones that we were actually hanging on our doors and stuff. Like I probably should have just started selling then, because I already knew that I had something special with my business. So I would use that $500 because I had already made, let me see, so between Halloween and New Year's Eve, I had already made like 20 wreaths for people and for the holidays. And everyone kept asking about them. So I could have sold them, or I could have started making my holiday products. And yeah, I could have launched it months ago. But that inner saboteur.
It will. It's hard to get over that. It is really hard.
Yeah.
Trust me. I know.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. Because it's funny, because I probably spent about $500, and I probably could have made that $500 over by now if I would have sold that first group that I was already doing. So, but that's a lesson learned.
Yeah.
That's a lesson learned.
Way to look at it.
So where do you
For
see
sure.
the future of your business? What are some of your plans?
Well, the plan is to still, keep a strong online presence, just keep refreshing the website, encouraging and telling the story about, Twisted Twigs by Spencer, maybe some pop-up events, maybe a few here and there, some farmers markets. Maybe there's some specialty stores that would like purchase a few to have in their stores, or give me a space to sell. So yeah, just kind of just see where it goes, to still keep it like authentic. Like I don't want it to become not as personal as it is right now. And I think with any business, you're basically already doing it every day. Like you're doing something that you're passionate about every day. Now you just chose to turn it into a business plan because you like it.
CJ mentioned like what are your next steps and plans, and I don't know where what company this is. I feel like it's a famous company that started out small, but one of their marketing ideas was in the beginning, they gave out, oh, it was wristband. It was this lady, she was doing a wristband bracelet company. And I think it was for like mental health awareness or something like that. But when people bought
Yeah.
one, she gave them a free one to give to a friend. And then that friend would receive them like, oh my God, this is really cute. I'm going to buy one. And then when they bought one, they got two and they got one to give to a friend. So I'm just saying, I'm not a marketing genius, but if you need an idea that just popped in my head,
A little jelly wristband surely
Well, let me
can't
just
cost
give
the
you. Let
same.
me get all y'all's address so you guys can put a
oh,
little
no, no,
wreath
no,
and
no,
all
no. That's
your
not what I
little
was saying.
background.
That's not what I was saying. What I was saying is maybe, for your, one of your future marketing ideas could be like if you make a wreath, and I don't know if they come in different sizes, but if you make a full size one for someone and maybe make a mini one to like, hey, here's a present to give to a friend, then that's like free marketing for you where they can
Yeah.
give it to their friend and be like, oh, I got this wreath from Spencer. And they're like, oh my God, what is this? And they'll see the little tag, they'll look up your website and maybe they'll buy one and then they get a little one that they give to a friend.
I have something in the pipeline that's
Okay.
similar to that. Like it's similar to that. But yeah, definitely it's some interesting stuff that I'm pretty excited about that's going to be happening in the next few months. So yeah, definitely thank you for the idea because it's funny because I literally was there's some stuff
It's okay,
happening.
Spencer. If you start doing it next week, I won't charge you for it. It's all right. Send me one for my birthday.
You gonna
Well,
charge somebody for
well,
an idea that you got from somebody else?
We're gonna cut
Well,
that part
look,
out.
it may not be next week. May not be next week, but I'll try.
Well, we're getting close to time. Ken, CJ, you guys have any other final words, questions?
One question, Spencer. You had mentioned at the top of the show that you write short stories. So how has that kind of helped you transition into creating these reads? Like, do some of the stories that you have written, do they manifest themselves in the reads that you're also creating? Or are those two totally separate, like creative hobbies that you have?
So the story comes first, actually, before the reef. So I think of what I want to try and portray. I always say it's kind of like Into the Woods, Alice in Wonderland fell down the rabbit hole. So it's going to be, you just don't know what you're going to see. So I come up with this current collection, Spring is Sprung collection, I thought about different area, how spring manifests into summer. So you have in the woods, you have garden parties starting, you have your spring holidays, and that's where I kind of went with it. And I just reading through trends and reading, and I just came up with the idea, and I just started writing the story. Like some of like the story about the tree fairies. So the Woodland Awakening is about the tree fairies and the frogs and the darker flowers turning into like the lighter flowers. So that's where it kind of goes. It kind of starts with like an idea, and then I just write like a short story about it and how I envision it, like with my vision boards and stuff of how I look to see how it's gonna like manifest, and it just becomes the final product.
Nice.
And it's good for my mental health because I'm able to focus and create and keep the brain moving and get you out of that daily cycle, like up at 5:30, bed by 11:30, so it kind of gets you out of that cycle as well.
So if you use your storytelling as part of your niche for your items, I'm curious, where does your mind go when it comes to the dark, evil side of Halloween?
Oh, well, I cannot reveal the theme of Halloween, but it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. So it'll be interesting. And it's like, I love Halloween. I love decorating for Halloween and the fall and stuff. And so at our home, we used to do a theme every year. So there would be a theme every year for how we decorated our house. So, and that's kind of the way I'm taking it. So there'll be a theme, and then there'll be a series of those that go with the theme. And as you see it, you should see the story. And then when you read the story, you're like, wow, that's
Oh,
pretty
so there's
great.
going to be
So,
an actual
yeah.
written story to go with the theme of the read.
So right now, currently on my website, for each one of the collection, there's a story that explains the collection. And then so then you read that story about the collection, and then when you actually click on the merchandise, then you will see that particular part of the story into the whole
aha
collection.
Very nice. I like it.
Okay.
All right. Well, there's two things that we have to do. The first thing is at the end of every show, we're going to have a question from the prior guest for you to answer. And then we're going to ask you to think of a question for the next guest to answer. I don't know if I highlighted that very well in the emails that I sent to you.
Yeah, I did my homework. I have a
Look at
question.
you. All right. Look at you.
Cause I was like, how am I gonna think of a question on the fly? But I was like, I'm gonna have to do my
Hey,
homework on this
listen,
one.
I was about to give you an out, but I don't have to give you an out. We can cut that part out. All right. Well, we're about
I gotta be ready. What do you
to be
mean?
ready. All right. Well, then, so since we didn't have a guest in the prior show, I'm not gonna lie. I used Claude and was like, give me a thoughtful question that I can ask Spencer.
Not
And
Claude.
so Claude is giving you, we don't use ChatGPT anymore.
Yeah, I think Claude is supposed to be like the new
Yeah,
thing
for political
now,
reasons.
so,
Yeah, we're
yeah.
freaking
Okay.
ChatGPT to the curb.
Yeah.
For all y'all watching and
Okay.
listening. But anyway,
Yep.
we're not gonna go into it. But so here's the lovely question that Claude, our previous guest, had for you. If Twisted Twigs disappeared tomorrow, what would you want people to remember it for? The work or the feeling it gave them?
Definitely the feeling. Because like you can't like they're always gonna have that feeling. They're gonna have that story that went with the reef. They're gonna remember the conversations that we've had talking about it. So yeah, definitely a feeling.
Very nice.
Definitely that.
All right. And then for our next guest, what question do we need to remember for?
All right.
I'm
Are
ready.
you ready?
I was gonna write it down, but
Okay.
then I just remembered it's getting
Okay.
recorded. So
I know, and I said, "Are you ready?" As if like
Yes.
you guys aren't gonna be able to.
Teleprompter catching.
Okay. Okay. So, what's one moment in your business journey that made you stop and say, "Yeah, this is why I do this," and tell us what that moment taught you?
perfect. I love it.
Yeah.
It's a great question.
Can we
Yeah.
All right.
go off
Go ahead.
script just for 1 second? I just was going to play our own version of Claude, but just out of curiosity, one thing we like to do, which you already just did, but if you want to reiterate where our audience can find you on your gifts on display.
Yes. So you can find me on our website on my website. I'm saying our. Like I feel like I have a whole business. Like people
Hey,
working
put it in the
for me.
atmosphere.
do.
You're
You-
going
you-
to-
you
you're gonna
yourself
have
and
an
you.
assistant,
You're manifesting.
You're gonna have a C-suite. You're gonna have all the things.
Manifest.
Look, my dogs that woke up, they already gone through the
Look,
inventory
they're your
over here.
assistants
I'm
right
like,
there.
what is happening?
We.
So they are after they always on break. So yeah, so you can find me on www.twistedtwigsbyspencer.com and also on Facebook and Instagram at Twisted Twigs by Spencer.
The second part of that question, with you being a creative, is there anyone or are there any companies or any person in particular that you'd like to do a collaboration with? They could be listening.
That's a good question.
It doesn't have to
that's
be
a good
anybody
question. I never
famous. It
thought
doesn't have
about
to
it
be
like that.
Rihanna or anything like that, but
Well, I
Yeah.
think, look, Oprah,
That's a good one.
Good one.
Reese Witherspoon, just because they're on these book clubs
Yeah.
and it's about, and they always, they find these books that just give people a moment to like escape their lives. And so hopefully, when someone receives one of my gifts or they purchase one of my gifts, that they can for a moment just kind of like forget and fall into that story and like kind of get that feeling of what that story's telling them.
So
I hope
Oprah,
Oprah's listening because I'd love
Yes.
to meet.
Hey, Oprah.
look, you never know. 6 degrees of separation.
www.twistedtwigs.sponsor. I know, right? I know.
Put it
it's
out there,
crazy.
Very nice.
manifest it.
All right, Ken, do you want to do our last part?
Okay. So, Spencer, at the end of every podcast, if you watched, we ask our guests to do one thing with us, and that is the Wakanda peace pause, where we hold up 2 peace signs like this, and we'll hold it there for approximately, I don't know, what,
Not
like
even that
15,
long.
20 seconds? Okay.
You sold
So
it.
that's what we're going to do. I don't think I did because I wasn't prepared for this. So I don't think I sold it. But,
Yeah, Spencer.
We only
But
do
as
it every
you said,
show.
yeah, at the end of every show, and at the end, we just take a clip or a picture of it, and it's just something crazy that I blurted it out one day for a show, and we're like, oh, we should do the Wakanda peace pause. It's just, Wakanda, blah, 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 is a piece for pausing. People keep telling me I should come up with a different name for it, but here we are. It's the Wakanda peace pause, and it will forever be the Wakanda peace pause. So, yeah.
You should name it
So
the
I'm gonna
Black
let
Bridge
Ken
Peace Pause.
we could change it. I'll let Ken do the countdown so he can redeem himself, and then he could tell us when to stop. And yeah, we'll go from there.
3, 2, 1.
Perfect.
Okay.
And we are
We're done?
done. Well, thank you, Spencer.
Yes, very much.
Yeah, no,
Thank you very much.
guys. Thank you guys. I mean, I really do appreciate this and giving a chance to talk about this. This is really awesome. I would have never thought I'd be asked to be on a podcast and explain my little business, my little hobby.
Listen, you're just in time. It's about to be spring. Your spring collection's coming out. The show's coming in spring. It's perfect
Yeah.
timing.
Yeah.
It's called divine intervention.
Yeah. So it's gonna be really exciting. I'm really excited. Like I said, I couldn't imagine it,
Congratulations
so.
to you.
Thank you, and congratulations to you guys too. This is great. This is awesome, really awesome.
I
So,
appreciate it.
Thank you.